Alex Jones has sent a warning about Donald Trump. And some people are saying that people need to pay attention to what he's saying here because they said that he's been pretty spot on about some other things. Notice I said some, not everything, but about some other things. And it kind of brought me back to this. Remember we were talking about this the other day? And I said, what is up with Donald Trump's hand? Remember we were talking about this? Brian Allen said Trump's hand is visibly bruised. He hides it, then shows it, then hides it again. Remember we were talking about like what's going on with dude's hand? Okay. Well, Alex Jones brought up some other issues, some other ones. And I think people need to see this. Again, this is a lot coming from him. Here's another one that people are sharing around. The Jerome Powell gaffe, right? So in 2017, even weirder yesterday, Alex Jones said he can tell that Trump's health is declining because of all the pressures of presidential duties. He says all presidents age twice as fast, and we see it happening right before our eyes. So in 2017, here's a picture of Donald Trump, and he says, "It is my honor to announce my nomination of Jerome Powell to be the next chairman of the Federal Reserve." That was 2017. In 2025, here's Donald Trump. I was surprised when Jerome Powell was appointed. So people, these are some of the things that people are pointing out. Remember, we started to notice some of these things with Joe Biden, like as well. Now, Alex Jones is telling people, excuse me, Donald Trump is headed for a health collapse. Listen to this.
Nobody, I don't care who they are, can operate at the level he does and the intensity over long periods of time, nonstop. You can have the very best engine, made by the Japanese, and you can't drive the car for 2 months straight, never turning the engine off. You just can't do it. And so, as I said back when Biden was getting ready to run, back then I said his cognitive decline is serious. And showed videos from him months before where he still was a little weird, but got a lot worse. I said, I think he's probably had another aneurysm or another stroke or something. He's already had a bunch of big brain surgeries. And they're like, oh, we're censoring you, fake news. And of course, it was all true. This isn't going to go away because Trump's not going to cut his schedule back and take care of himself. Again, a 45-year-old man couldn't do this. So as the crisis gets worse, and it's going to get worse, because you can see him declining faster and faster. It's not super bad yet. But unlike Biden that was completely shot and had all these brain surgeries and the rest of it, Trump has got great genetics. He's tough. And if he takes care of himself, he can make it through these years and then after. But if he doesn't, he's going to have... I predict Trump is going to have some type of collapse within the next 12 months at the current trajectory. I'm not.
Everybody hearing this? Right? So some of us saw this about Joe Biden during the Democrat primary debates when he was running in 2020. We were kind of calling this out back then that Joe Biden is, I'm like, yo, dude is slipping. What's happening? What is going on? But the DNC pushed him through anyway. You know how that goes. And so he had concerns about Joe Biden before he announced that he was going to run. And now he's telling people about Donald Trump's health. And wait till you see some of the things that he points out. Like, I saw the hand. I didn't see the cankle thing. So he's going to get into that as well.
Saying he's going to collapse. I'm saying if he doesn't take his foot off the gas pedal, I guarantee you, and I've got stamina, way better than most people. If I had Trump's job at 51 for a month, I would have a nervous breakdown. So this isn't a criticism of Trump, but it'd be like taking an ultra marathon runner and saying, okay, you can run 100 miles in 2 days. Well, how about 300 in 2 days? You can't do it.
Sorry here. Let's go to the next part, because A lot of people are talking about this. Let me just go past this picture here. And I think that this is something people need to be paying attention to, because that could mean that JD Vance will be stepping in before you know it. Something to think about.
So I really want Trump to cut the work days to 14 hours, not 20. I mean, here's an example. They looked at his schedule last week when he went up to Alaska, and he was seen doing interviews and getting on and off airplanes and things in a 35-hour period. And every hour or so, he was doing some interview or talking to officials and doing meetings and events. It looks like he didn't sleep. You can't do that at 50. You can't do it at 20. You sure as hell can't do it at 79. And as more evidence of that, let me just go ahead and hit this now. I see this headline and I go, oh, let me go actually watch him say this. And sure enough, he did.
Someone was asking about cankles. Cankles or chubby ankles? Is that Sabby bites? Yeah, cankles are chubby ankles. It's when like your ankle is swollen.
And I know some of the inside baseball that really hasn't been talked about. Yeah, and you see a little swelling there. If you pull up the ankles from Alaska, it's a straight-on shot. They are big. They are swollen. I mean, they are like really big. I mean, they look like my neck's 19 and a half inches, about like that. His ankles look like they're about 15 inches around. That's not a good sign for the heart and the rest of the body, because the rest of him, he's lost weight. He's not that fat. So
he literally said he's not that fat. Oh my God. Checkpoint said Alex Jones is actually being logical. I don't know. I've heard people say cankles before. Oh my gosh.
Trump really needs to exercise and take care of himself. Yeah, that's
it right there. So you guys see, that's not a good thing. Like, and of course, like they're trying to make this seem like it is a good thing. Not that it is a good thing, but you guys know the same way that the press secretary covered for Biden, the press secretary for Donald Trump is saying he has a good bill of health. So we didn't been down this road before. But I'm looking at the picture my damn self. No, that's not good. That's not good. Miss Kiwi says she thinks it may be blood pressure and kidney function problems. When you have swelling, I'm no doctor, but swelling isn't a good thing, right? Like, especially there. I don't know.
That's not good. For everybody that you've known that's having heart problems, that's not good right there. Okay? And they're getting bigger and bigger. And so Trump,
it's one of those things that you don't notice. You can get away with it when you're standing, especially if your pants leg comes below your ankles, which I would assume for most dudes it does, right? Like, especially if you're wearing a suit. But once you sit down, cankles are exposed. So this is one of those things I told a friend of mine one time when she was wearing mismatched socks or whatever. She was like, nobody's going to notice. And then she sat down and people were like, you got a different color socks, like that type of thing. But that's not good. I don't care like what, the press secretary is saying. That is not a good sign.
He's a maniac. He's our maniac. But he's like a racehorse. If you run it in a race every day, it's going to end up having a heart attack or breaking a leg. You run it once a month. So I saw this headline. I said, let me go see if this is true. It is. This is out of the Mirror. Trump's afterlife fear sparks fresh health concern as president admits, I'm not doing well. He goes on to say, I don't know if I'm going to get into heaven. I want to try to get into heaven if possible. I'm hearing that I'm not doing well. Trump told Fox, he went on to say, I want to stop world war.
So did everybody hear that? The whole I don't know about the heaven thing. Yeah. Eartha said compression socks. Yeah. This doesn't sound good.
So he feels an incredible responsibility. He's a really good person. He's extremely driven. I know a lot of people that have this similar level, not as much energy as him. He's got the most energy I've ever seen. But I know some super lawyers. I know some other people in business. And they've all got what you'd call Asperger's, basically. And Elon Musk admits he has it, high functioning, 180 IQ. Those are just names science gives it to gifted people, savants. But I don't think Trump's going to be able to stop himself. This is the way he is genetically. But if the people around him could just get him to take off one day a week, if he could just go play golf and watch movies and have some fun, he deserves it. And anybody that knows the military, they don't rotate the Navy SEALs and Delta Force and Army Special Operations.
Who made this? So let me say something here about the stress of that job. Do you guys remember how George W. Bush looked his second term? Remember how Obama looked his second term? Yeah, there is something to be said for that. Like 8 years in the White House, in the Crook House, 8 years in the Crook House, there's something to be said for that. But Donald Trump, I told you guys, even when he was debating Kamala, he was not the same Donald Trump as he was when he ran in 2016. You could see that obviously he's older, things change as you get older. But now we're looking at health situations. Who knows? There could have been health issues before he, won the presidential election. He could have already gone into rerunning and already had that. We don't know. I don't know. Or maybe it came later. Either way, I think that people need to start paying attention to JD Vance as well, because I wouldn't be surprised if he has to end up stepping in during this term, unless Trump tries to, continue to ride this as long as he can.
Back for the last 4 months of every deployment, because they don't want them in the field. They know they get better performance and don't get burnout if special operations people work 8 months and then come back and get debriefed for a couple of weeks and then spend 3.5 months off. You've got to put the battleship in the dry dock and give it a break. Now, that said, I hardly ever take off. Any vacation I take, I end up working. A vacation for me is like I'm working 8 hours a day. So I know of what I speak. But I come back after a week vacation of only working 8 hours a day, and I feel incredible because it gives you time to rest the synapses, and you're more effective when you do it.
So I'm just going to go ahead and say it. What if this was all a part of the plan? What if it was all a part of the plan, just like when Biden and Kamala, decided, team up and they were running, in 2020. Remember, Biden was only supposed to serve one term. That was supposed to be the plan. Then that dude got in there and he didn't want to step aside. So that's a whole other story that we've gotten into before. But what if the plan was similar for Trump and JD Vance? What if the plan was just like, look, I'm going to go out there and win this thing because a lot of people who supported me before would probably support me again because of the economy and the wars, et cetera, et cetera. Obviously, of course, not mentioning that he wasn't going to hold those things true. But what if that was the plan for Donald Trump to say, I'm going to run because I know that I can beat Biden or Kamala. And then whoever he had selected for the VP, which at that time was JD Vance, it was, and then whatever happens, happens, and I'll pass it over to you. What if that was, I mean, they wouldn't tell us that. They're not going to just say, yeah, well, I'm just going to hand it over to this guy. What if that was part of this? If that is the case, then Peter Thiel wins. Because JD Vance is a Peter Thiel creation. We cannot forget that. We already see they're ramping up the surveillance state. Put all the pieces together in the puzzle, ladies and gentlemen. So what if that was the way that this was designed to go? We don't know. But right now, it's not looking too good. And like I said, Alex Jones obviously supported Donald Trump, voted for Donald Trump. And if he's saying it, doesn't look good, bruh. Doesn't look good for Donald. That's what I'm saying. Everything is coming out. More people being vocal. I don't know what is going to happen, going forward. But if I were to make a prediction, it's Donald Trump's first year. It hasn't even been 1 year yet. And we're already seeing these issues, the health issues. So what do you think is going to happen? Ay, folks. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.